Welcome on in, golf fans. It's your boy Gsluke here with our DFS value plays for this week's Valero Texas Open. Gonna break down the bottom end of the Draftkings pricing board and bring you guys a few plays that'll help you save some salary in those GPP lineups, and of course get some upside, some potential top 5, top 10 placement with a few of these guys, and of course some much needed ownership leverage towards the bottom end of the board as well. So gonna hopefully get you guys some salary to go out there, get an extra stud or two into those lineups, and hopefully find yourself at the top of those GPP leaderboards. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get this thing rocking. I usually consider a value play to be somebody $8,000 and cheaper, but we're saving a little bit more salary this week. I think that everyone there in the top of the 7K range is viable this week, but some guys there in the bottom end of the 7 and the top of the 6s that I think you at least want to consider this week. So let's start with Sepp Straka at $7,400, a little bit cheaper than where we usually start these videos, and a player that I think is just as talented as some of those top of the 7K options, and honestly, as some of those 8K options. In elite level fields, Sepp Straka has gone out there and won before. You've seen it at the Honda Classic, and then at an event like what you had there at TPC Southwind, the first FedEx St. Jude playoff event there last year, lost in a playoff. So he showed an ability to go out there, take on stronger fields than what you're going to have this week. And I think from the skill set perspective, it hasn't really translated to course history for Straka, but I think he fits the golf course theoretically. And we're really looking for more of a plotter off the tee, right? Somebody that can keep themselves out of trouble. And to think for both of those top end finishes, that would be the Honda Classic and then at TPC Southwind, a bunch of water in play. So of course, off the tee, he had to avoid those landmains at both golf courses out there, which is a skill of its own. It's something that I think he can handle around a TPC San Antonio, where you also have to make sure that you're not missing in dreadful places off the tee. There are natural areas where you can end up having penalty strokes. There's water on a few holes, but more importantly, those tree-lined fairways that can be especially problematic. So I like the off the tee fit at some of the courses where he's found success. There has been that priority on that accuracy off the tee, keeping yourself out of trouble. On top of that, the putting numbers on this Bermuda that is overseeded with the Poa Trivalis, he's been pretty decent on it. You can see gaining for his career. He's not always the most consistent putter, and you can see over his last 12 rounds, so let's go up here, find Sepp Straka here. He's gaining significantly on the approach play, so he's gone a lot better with the irons, particularly over the last few events, where he's gaining close to half a stroke per round there, gaining slightly off the tee. He's much more of an accuracy over a distance guy, though don't short sell him on the distance. He's not a short player by any means. Around the green is always a little bit sketchy there, but has been a consistent gainer with the putter, and it's not flashy, right? He's not gaining multiple strokes per round or anything like that, but very quietly is playing to his identity, right? Being one of the top end ball strikers, and then just a slight gainer with the flat stick. And in this kind of field where you're, bereaved of all of that top end talent, there's not a bunch of studs up there to worry about. He could sneakily get you that top 10 performance, and he's $7,400 in this kind of field. He also has the perceived wave advantage, I would say, at this point, being in the AM/PM wave. Now, it's a little bit early to be making these assertions, but as of right now, it does look like the winds on Thursday afternoon might be a little bit higher than the morning there on Thursday. And then on Friday, it's looking like there might be higher winds in the morning as opposed to the afternoon. So that PM/AM wave that'll have the higher winds in both circumstances might be a little bit behind the 8 ball, whereas Sepp Straka, the other AM wave golfers, I think might have slightly advantageous conditions. So he's got that going for him. I like the off the tee fit as we spoke about. The shots gained metrics of late have been there, decent on these greens. And like I said, the event history is not that supportive of him. He's only played here twice. He has one made cut, one missed cut. Did absolutely nothing with the one made cut that he had. So like I said, there's nothing really to go off of there. But I think from the skill set, just theoretical perspective, it's a golf course that I think makes sense for him. And if he can get hot on these greens, you can see he's not been great for his career on this Poa Trivalis, but he's been better than most other surfaces on tour. So I think that there's a little bit of potential to be had there. I think he's an underpriced player and only 5.1% owned at this point. Next up, we've got ourselves Tyler Duncan, so a little bit cheaper. I think the price tag is a lot more appropriate here with Tyler Duncan, but you've also got yourself low ownership, only 4.6%, and of late, especially if you just look at the last 12 rounds for Tyler Duncan, he's been outstanding. So if we go down here, you'll see he's gaining close to a stroke per round off the tee, gaining with the approach play, and a slight gainer with the putter. That is the ball striking Tyler Duncan we're looking for. And I can tell you, as somebody that played DFS showdown props heavily over there last week for the Corrales Putacana, he was in contention there and playing unbelievable with the wedge and iron play. I was watching, they had it on the Golf Channel for all 4 rounds. They had about 4 hours of coverage each day, and a lot of it was on Tyler Duncan because he was in contention from as early as round 1. So $7,200, gotta like the form. That's not even reflected in the shots gained metrics, where he's already been playing well before that event and is now coming in with even hotter form at an event where people really weren't paying attention to him, right? A lot of you out there, this is probably news to your ears, right? Hearing that he absolutely lit it up out there at Corrales, but he did. He was up there in contention up there till Sunday. So $7,200. Another player also in that AM wave, much more of a ball striker than a putter. You can see the putting numbers over here on this overseed have not been, very kind to Tyler Duncan over the years, and I think that's putting it lightly. But just given that upside with the ball striking this week of a field, I like his chances to go out there, make a cut, perhaps get us into that top 20, top 10 that we're looking for in those GPPs. And I think Sepp Straka, much more winning upside. I think he's got that spike in him out there. Tyler Duncan, maybe not as much top 5 winning upside, but I think a little bit of a safer bet to go out there and make the cut, especially given, these shots gained metrics don't even include that Corrales performance, or else he'd be just gaining 2.5 strokes per round, because he went out there and gained like 10 strokes to the field last week. Nearly took down the whole golf tournament. So I think he's, trending in the right direction, and a player that I'm definitely going to have access to. Our last 2 picks are down here. Well, we have Ben Martin to begin, and then we're going to go down to a 6K option I think you should definitely keep an eye on. But Ben Martin might be a little chalky. So unlike the first 2 plays that, you're talking about sub 5% ownership likely on both of them, I have Ben Martin at 9%, and there's actually a few other sources that have Ben Martin clear into the double digits. So we'll have to see where he ends up there on Wednesday. I do think that he's going to get attention, but it's well-deserved. Much like a Tyler Duncan, if you're looking for a hot player with the ball striking, look no further than a Ben Martin. You can see up here at $7,100, gaining half a stroke per round with the off the tee play, half a stroke per round with the approach play. Even the putter's been hot of late. That's not really what he's known for. He's much more of a ball striking first sort of player. In the AM wave, right, also has that going for him. We already talked about the potential advantage to be had there. And in terms of your modeling, he's a top 5 model ranking down here at number 53 in pricing. Just ridiculous points per dollar value. In terms of made cut percentage, he's at nearly a 64% made cut rate, which is among the highest on the entire slate. That's why he's getting that ownership, right? So even if he ends up 10%, which could be twice as owned as some of the other players in this range, it's one of the rare circumstances where I kind of like that chalky pick towards the bottom of the 7K range. I'm normally a huge voice against these sort of players, except that you also have to consider Ben Martin. He wasn't in contention like Tyler Duncan at the Corrales, but he had 4 solid rounds. I can tell you because I bet against him a few times when it came to birdies or better. He was at 4.5 birdies and smash at times. He made like 7 birdies round 1. He made like 6 birdies there in round 4. Just an exceptional golfer in really good form. And again, these shots gained metrics look good even without that performance at the Corrales Putacana. So just if you're looking for somebody in form that is the ball striking kind of player you're looking for at this golf course, then look no further than a Ben Martin there in the AM wave. Our last play here is, I think, a clear misprice. I think he's probably at least $700, maybe $800 too cheap for this sort of field. It should be up there probably close to a Tyler Duncan, Sepp Straka in terms of price tag, and that is a Kevin Tway at $6,500. Another AM wave golfer. Shouldn't be a surprise, right? I'm trying to take advantage of that micro edge that I think is going to be had there, but just a better player than the price tag. You take a look at the recent form. He did play at Corrales. He did make the cut down there. Didn't do anything really with it, so nothing really to hone in on. He had a few missed cuts. That's why the price tag has gone down. But before that was a made cut machine. Had the 63rd place there. Before that, though, was going out there consistently posting like top 30 finishes. And only had 1, maybe 2 pop performances, we'd say, over that stretch where he was getting close to that optimal lineup down here at this price tag. but now he's back in the 6K range, right? He got up there to the high end of the 7K range. He was getting 10-15% ownership on a few of those fall level events, some of the early events there in 2023. Was starting to get the attention and the price tag. Now we've got Kevin Tway at 1.6% projected owned, and he's only $6,500. That's when I want to buy in on him, right? I don't want to buy in on him when he's chalk, he's going out there hardly making cuts or missing cuts. I want him when he has all that same potential, right? But no one else is there, right? He's super cheap. He's getting you a ton of salary flexibility up top. So Kevin Tway, that's why I'm getting there. If you want to look at the last 12 rounds, they're not all that favorable. Again, he's been missing cuts, but look at this. He's still at least a positive in both ball striking categories, a slight negative around the green, and losing 0.2 shots per round with the putter, right? All in all, losing 0.1 shots per round. Is that really all that bad? I mean, clearly not, right? Like, he's just a slightly below average player who's made a few cuts, missed a few cuts, just kind of been getting by. But just look at the longer track record, right? Look at some of those pop performances, that consistency that we saw just a few months ago. I think you're looking at a player that's just better than all of the guys around him, and arguably in similar form to most of them as well. So last week, just to give you an idea of how the sharps see Kevin Tway, I entered the 555 single entry there against a lot of the other quote-unquote sharps, right, when it comes to PGA DFS for Corrales, and I played Kevin Tway thinking he might be a little bit sneaky in those contests. Maybe not sneaky because I knew the competition I was playing against, but I thought he was a really good value play. He was towards the top end of the 6K range, if memory serves me correct, and he was 60% owned in that contest. And there was only 20 entries, right? But, 12 people out of 20 having Kevin Tway was jarring to say the least. It gave me a laugh. I'm sure a few other people in the contest that had Tway had a laugh about it as well. But that shows you the sentiment around him. And in this GPP format, I only have him at 1.6% ownership, and he's only $6,500. So I think he's an excellent play and somebody you should consider down there in the middle of the 6K range for some ownership leverage. Alrighty guys, that is all I've got for the value plays. Before you hopping out of here, go ahead, comment down below your top GPP play priced $8,000 and below on Draftkings, and give me a little nugget as to why you're backing him, why he's your top play of the week. And either way though, I appreciate all the support here on the channel. Make sure to go ahead, smash that like button before you hop on out of here. We'll have fades and sleepers dropping tomorrow morning, and of course our weekly DFS live stream will be Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So make sure to stop on by for that. We'll go over all of your questions, the weather edge out there. We'll take a peek at the forecast, still see if that AM wave is going to have an advantage over the PM AM wave. We'll have to see, and go over all of those questions, whether it's for DFS, whether it's for props, whatever you guys want to talk about. It'll be your time to do so, and looking forward to it. So again, smash that like button, comment down below your top value play, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already so you don't miss any of that content in the future. Best of luck with those lineups, and let's get this cash.